Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening, Abhrekha. How are you?
I'm good, ma'am. So happy to see you. Let's wait for a couple of minutes.
Sure, sure.
Am I?
How have you been?
I am absolutely happy and happier today to see you.
That's so nice, and you're looking so beautiful, all decked up, ready for a chat. While I am just my messy self, the same messy
You,
head.
ma'am, you yourself is such a beauty. You define beauty. So
Uh,
I know, I can go on and on, but yeah.
so happy to see you after long today. Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
we're chatting.
Absolutely. I'm also excited and jumping with joy, and I can understand others who are joining
I'm
because it's
and
always,
who are already there. Yeah, So
yes,
I
ma'am. So,
was very long. Yeah.
yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Hmm.
So, ma'am, I will just give another minute. I see more people joining in. I
Sure.
will give about a minute.
Absolutely, absolutely fine. And how was your? You had some event that is a book launch or something, I believe.
Yes, yes, it was a mega book launch. I just closed that. It
Okay.
was, it was too excited.
Hi,
I
Vikram.
think,
There are people who are writing, and these must be my students from somewhere for sure.
I know. Anybody or everybody,
Oh yes,
or they're going to be in your future.
another
So
student.
either they would be your students in the past or would become in future eventually.
Rahul, another such a dear student.
Oh,
So
lovely.
great. Okay.
So I think we should begin. And
Okay. Problems.
once again, I thank you. In spite you're not feeling well, you still took out that time. So I'm eternally grateful, ma'am. Thank you so much.
My
So
pleasure.
good evening, everyone, and I heartily greet you for tonight's much-awaited event. We all know that writing expresses the finest stories of life, emotions, incidents, and more themes. Penmanship celebrates all the colors of life. But who makes these tales more colorful and lively? Yes, yes, an author creates magnificent stories that are loved and read by you all. Dr. Swati Lodha is an author of Beyond the Blue, Who is Revati Roy, Amazon bestseller books like 54 Reasons Why Parents Suck and Don't Raise Your Children, Raise Yourself. And other best-selling books include Why Women Are What They Are and Come On, Get Set Go. A doctorate in women entrepreneurship, she's passionate about longevity, ageism, sensitivity, and gender parity. Apart from being an author, social entrepreneur, corporate trainer, she has been director of Jodhpur Institute of Management, Dean Faculty of Management, JNU, and director AIMSR Mumbai. She was also appointed a chief incubation officer at MDI Gurgaon. And currently, she is the director of MET Institute of Management. She founded her first venture Flash 24 years ago, which offers training courses to youth professionals and women. She has mentored more than 10,000 individuals from different walks of life. She is a mentor to many upcoming entrepreneurs, writers, readers on many digital platforms on leadership, motivation, and personal excellence. My association with her goes when I was a school student, and that continues till date. In 2021, she founded Ulta School, a thought and action platform to break stereotypes around aging, to start conversations around age as an enabler. Ulta in Hindi means reverse, and as an acronym, it stands for Unlearn and Learn to Age. Welcome, ma'am. Thank you so much for taking out time to be with us. I also thank our listeners, our viewers, to taking time out on a Saturday evening. I promise that this session will be a great learning and surely an evening to remember. Without any further delays, ma'am, let me quickly jump onto our Q&A, and I'll be asking you a few questions. To begin with, we all are curious to know that when did you first realize that you wanted to be a writer, and what are your working schedule when you write, and on an average, how much time do you take to write a book?
Okay, so you asked a lot of questions together. Let me try and answer them quickly. So, Abhrekha, I started writing much early in my life. I started writing poetry and I started writing in Hindi. I started way back when I was maybe 8 years old. So, started writing poems here and there at that time. Not even aware that this worth keeping track, storing it properly. So my mother used to find some pieces of writing here and there, and so she would keep them. And gradually, with a few years, I realized that I love to write. I love to write poetry, and so I used to write Hindi poetry at that time. And my first collection of Hindi came out when I was 17, when I was 12. So at that time, the first poetry collection came out. But as a writer, what people see now, that is writing, and that too now I write more prose, I write in English. So that started somewhere in 1999, 2000, when I wrote my first book. And then when you talk about schedule of writing, I don't think there is a very fixed schedule, because there is a, whenever there is a new idea, it starts your brain, it starts cooking there, it's doing, and gradually you frame the ideas and you uh, chapterizing it sometimes. So it takes some time, and I have written books in as long as 2 years, and I have finished a book in as short as a time of 4 months. So it completely depends. Sometimes the theme, the that you're writing, so we can finish it quickly. Sometimes it takes more time. And when it comes to schedule, when you are writing, at that time you are completely involved, immersed in that specific book. Sometimes it takes a lot of time framing and figuring out. So yes, no specific schedules, but yes, when you are writing, it must be 4 to 6 hours every day kind of a thing for a few months. When you are writing a full block, that's how
And
it is.
I'm sure it's kind of 24 hours, like we're eating, sleeping, everything with it, like consciously or subconsciously, isn't it?
Yes. Because when
Kind
you're
of.
writing something, then that keeps on growing in you all the time, and you're constantly thinking about the idea, the concept. And since I don't write novels, I don't write fiction, I write non-fiction. So there is a lot of research involved in most of the books that I've written. So for that research, you have to read a lot, you have to find out different things, you have to do it with people like that. So there is a lot that goes in the background research. So
Yes,
that is.
ma'am. I have also read a couple of your books, and they have a different. It's like out of, I mean, something which you relate with, like some planets or something. Like a couple of books which I read, and
Oh yeah, which
some.
you're talking about.
Yeah. So I think a lot of research, and you try to relate it to certain things which we could never think. But yeah, that is how I think your art of writing is
True.
very, very inspirational, ma'am. So, if I may ask that, if you had to do something differently as a child or a teenager to
Mhm.
become a better writer as an adult, what it would have been?
To be honest with you, I would not want to change anything in my childhood, because that was a very precious time of my life. Spent most of my childhood in a small town called Barmer, a desert area in, and I studied in a central school, a Kendriya Vidyalaya of that time. And my father is a doctor, so he was posted in Barmer, and I spent a lot of my time. But there is nothing that I would want to change in my experience as a student or as a teenager, because all those experiences create who you are. So I would love to remember all those experiences as the foundation of my personality. So there's nothing that I would want. Of course, as a writer, you pick up a lot of experiences from different places. So every experience is welcome for a, but yeah, no, nothing that I I love the time that I spent in that small, and the kind of childhood I had with my parents in that particular place, So
Perhaps you started writing very early, so I think you know.
that is,
it-
and then writing has nothing to do with the place. Writing has everything to do with who yourself, what is going on inside you, what is going on in your mind. So
Correct.
about that, I always feel that I always had an itch to write I always loved words. I always wanted to express myself through words. I used to paint a lot when I was a, so that was also a mode of expression. But as I grew up, I think words caught all my attention, and so that is how I always
Lovely,
express.
lovely.
So it has
So,
always.
yes, ma'am. So, what literally pilgrimages you have been on, or as in, what made you do get into all this, and what was it that turning point which you thought that you have to write and you know
Mm, I would not say there was any turning point as such. I was always scribbling, I was always writing, I was always expressing my through poetry, through prose, through articles, in different manners. But I was always writing. So there was no turning point as such. But as you say, was there any literary pilgrimage? So my own life experiences motivated me to start writing because I belong to a space. And so the self-help books that I wrote, they came out of my experience from the the organization that I ran at that time, Swash. So the students were all coming there. I realized that I need to write something for them, and that is how Get Set was written. My poetry,
absolutely.
more of my experiences in 10th grade. I have a beautiful TED talk on that platform, and that talks about what happened with me in 10th grade, and because of that I wrote a full poetry book based on the experience that I had as a 15-year-old, as a 10th grader who failed in the first board exam, right? So it was an
Mm.
experience to have, but a very valuable lesson that it gave to me for my life going ahead. So, the poetry came out from my experiences, prose came out of my experience with others. So there was no literary, no one who inspired me as such, but it was my own life experience. They motivated me to write all that. My experiences with people.
Absolutely, ma'am. And I think each day is a learning, and this is how we do. Great to know that, ma'am. Now that you're writing, written some best-selling books, and you have a wonderful experience, lengthy, great experience in this literature field. What do you think are the common traps these days for the aspiring writers? Because I'm sure many of our listeners would be aspiring to write, or they think that they will do that. So, what do you think are the common traps for any aspiring writer?
See, the biggest trap is self-doubt because writing is a lonely path. Writing is a long process, and whatever you are writing, you always feel that maybe it is not good. Maybe what I'm doing is not something that people would like. Maybe it is not worthy of being published. So self-doubt is the biggest trap that every writer suffers from at some point of their writing career. Somewhere they suffer, and people suffer from it more in the beginning. Very difficult to get published. It's not that. So we are always full of self. Then there is a lot of rejection, criticism that comes your way when you are writing, because there are a lot of people who might not like. All the good writers have been constantly rejected by a lot of good publishers. Okay, so it is not essential that whatever you are writing would get some kind of positive response.
Acceptance.
It doesn't happen. One has to be very strong to take those rejections, to accept the criticism with grace, ready to edit one's own work constantly. For example, if I'm writing a book, I might write 1 lakh words, and then I would mercilessly edit it to 50,000 words. So it is like 50% of what you've written is gone. But you should be ready for that, and you cannot fall in love with every word that you write. Because I've seen a lot of aspiring writers doing that. Once they write something, they feel that, it is something which is so close to me, I cannot leave it, I've written it, and I want to, preserve everything I've written. But it doesn't work like that. You cannot get attached to what. But at the same time, it is very important to be consistent. For any writer, it is important that you keep reading and you keep. Anyone who feels that if I write one draft of something and it is going to be a bestseller, it doesn't work like that. So you write one draft, then you change, you write another draft, you refine it, you fine tune it, you write another draft. So 4, 5, 6 drafts of a book are a very normal thing. And these days, having that kind of really difficult. So it's a tough ask for anyone to, to tell someone that hold on, keep at it, be a writer. Not easy, not at all. You can only do it if you're so passionate that I want to be a writer. I'll keep writing. I'll keep. So it is that kind of a inside obsession that I cannot survive without writing. I want to write. Only then it works. Otherwise, at some point, you start feeling, you know,
Absolutely, ma'am. That strong passion is required, and that fear of acceptance. I mean, even if
consistency is the most important thing
key,
when you
yeah,
want.
yeah, consistency and perseverance is the key.
Well,
I also believe. Absolutely, well said, ma'am. So you have been a motivational speaker for a long time, and you have transformed thousands of lives, including mine. So how do you ensure that whatever your speeches are very captivating and informative? How do you ensure? Because these days we have a lot of data and a lot of things available, but still I see thousands of people still following you and always wanting to listen to you and get enlightened. So what is that?
that's kind of you to say so, but I'm not a motivator anymore, I believe, because with age, we all change. I am not that motivator anymore, which I used to be when I was your age, or I was even younger than. I was more of a motivator at the time, and I was very positive. But with time, with age, we learn better. So I've become more realist now than more of a positive person. So now the things are more real, more authentic, and not always positive, but they are going to be very honest. So I think my USP is only one, that is being authentic. So I would always remain authentic. I would call a spade, and that is how there are people who would want what I have to say. Yeah,
Absolutely, ma'am. And your honesty comes but whenever you speak, and that is why we are able to relate because somewhere down our life also, we have those experiences, ma'am. Absolutely inspiring you are. So you need not be a motivational speaker. Whatever you speak, we get motivated from that.
that's nice.
Okay. So you're a very successful woman now, ma'am, from what I see. And more than successful woman, you're very inspiring. So what are the secrets of success, if I may ask? Or, how do you navigate through the tough times? What makes you going when you essentially say that you're very positive? What keeps you going? I'm sure you must have some lows in your life and, we being human. So how do you just navigate through it?
Abhrekha, what happens is in life, there is one thing which is how do you navigate is a question where you that as a option, yeah, we don't have any option but to navigate through any times that we are thrown at. So for me, the biggest thing is that I'm more of a fearless person. I don't fear. What happens is that whatever comes my way, I am very open to faith, and I don't get scared. I feel stressed that how would I handle it. That is not my way of coping with it. My way of coping with anything is to face it, to find a solution gradually, and take it with my chin up. Even if there is something negative, even if there is something which is not to my liking, but I would still be always ready to face that. So that is why tough times don't seem very tough to me, because I'm always ready to face whatever comes my way. And I never work from the position of fear. That is something that I've learned in my life always. That whenever you work from the position of fear, from a place of fear, you get stressed, you make wrong decisions, you feel self doubt, you are not sure of yourselves. While I am someone who will take whatever comes in hush, that is who I am. And I don't believe in hiding any kind of trouble. If I have a challenge, I'm ready to accept it in front of everyone that this is the challenge I'm facing. But then I'm ready to face it too, you know. So that is how it works. Don't operate from a place of fear. Just operate from conviction in yourself that whatever the situation is, you will face it. You are ready to face it. And then you will find out your gradually. Don't try to hide from it. Don't try to find out solutions, because everything doesn't depend upon a solution. You might not get a solution, but if you keep walking, if you keep wading through that problem, so
At
facing
least
it,
you will survive through it. Yeah. At least you will,
you will.
often we say that there shall to pass, kind of thing, that you will pass sooner or later, maybe,
So I
keeping your strength.
dearly, I love myself too dearly, and that is why I
Me too,
would,
Ravi.
yeah, I would always face what comes. So I see a
Absolutely.
lot of children, young people, adolescents these days who all feel that no, life is not worth it. We are so tired. We don't like what is happening around us, or this is the problem, that is the problem. And I always wonder that it is only the attitude. It is only your attitude, and then if you learn to face it, I'm you will look back with more comfort later on that okay, I had this challenge, I had this curveball coming to me, but I played it well. That's
And
how.
you will evolve more stronger now, as you say, and eventually become fearless, because then you'll have that confidence that if I can do this and if I can pass through this, then, I can do that as well. So
When I
a
in my,
great learning, man.
I realized that if I can fail and I can still survive, then whatever comes my way, I'll be able to face it, right? And
Absolutely.
that is what has been my philosophy of life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now, times have changed now, and as you mentioned, yeah, children are a little impatient now, and they get just disheartened very soon.
Hmm.
But and they also want to do things their way. So you have written several books on parenting, and you have been speaking on a lot of forums. So, what according to you is a good parenting? And if you could share top 5 tips which would help women and to raise the children, because I myself, try to be honestly try to be a good mother, but at times things get overwhelming, and I'm not that good to children, and all those things, and then there's a guilt, there's a deadlock, and while there is so much love they would ever know for them, but maybe we unable to express, and sometimes get into arguments, and children have also become impatient. Some days are bad, so how do you do that? I mean, how to overcome that?
So, Abhrekha, I've written a book titled 54 Reasons Why Parents Suck. Yeah.
I know.
So, the first thing that I wrote it with my daughter, Swara, and we both wrote it together. I incorporated a lot of learnings from her as a child that what goes wrong with. The first thing you are asking 5 tips. The first and the foremost important thing is parents try to be perfect, which is not needed. Parents put a lot of pressure on themselves. Perfect. But the best thing is to understand that if you have a 1 year old, you are a 1 year old parent, right? You may be 25, 30, 35, whatever, but then you're only a 1 year old parent if you have a 1 year old child. So your age as a parent is not much. We all are learning, we all evolve. So a parent should always be ready to accept that I might be wrong, I might be making a mistake. I might be, I might not be doing something in the right manner. That is what happens. So what we have to know is that imperfection is absolutely, and we all make mistakes, and parents are no exception. They will also make mistakes. We should be ready to accept them. And the biggest problem is we as parents want to have a lot of power, a lot of authority on our children, and so if we feel that our children should always feel कि भाई ये कहा है तो सही ही है, हमारी बात तो आपको माननी ही है क्योंकि हम आपसे बड़े हैं. I don't agree philosophy.
Absolutely.
ये ईगो रखना पेरेंट्स बड़े हैं, I don't buy that. So disagreement should always be welcome with children. Not that हिंदुस्तानी पेरेंट्स को बहुत लगता है कि बच्चे ने सामने बोल दिया तो पता नहीं क्या मतलब,
कि मैनर्स नहीं, संस्कार नहीं है.
हाँ कि आप सामने बोल रहे हैं ऐसा कैसे बोल दिया. But that is not how it works. It is absolutely fine to converse. It is fine to discuss, to listen to their perspective. That is absolutely fine. But yes, we should try and do it in a manner, and that kids learn if we are okay for a debate, if we are okay to converse with them. So that is the first most important thing. Then there are other things like don't compare your kids with others, which again parents have a habit of knowingly, unknowingly,
It
deliberately.
happens. Yeah.
We start looking at other kids and we are like, oh, ये काम इससे better कर रहा है, वो तो इससे अच्छे marks ला रहा है. A lot of things we start comparing. हम खुद को भी compare करते हैं दूसरे parents से, हम अपने दूसरे बच्चों से compare करते हैं. Let us not do that. You are unique. Your child is absolutely unique. तो आप अगर कंपेयर नहीं करेंगे तो आपकी लाइफ भी बहुत इजी होगी और आपके बच्चों की तो डेफिनेटली. So
Absolutely.
don't try to compare them because that is one of the biggest problem. और फिर
Mistake.
हम जो उनके साथ में बार्टर करते हैं वो हमें कि अगर तुम ये करोगे तो तुम्हें ये मिलेगा, अगर तुम इतना पढ़ लोगे तो.
Incentive driven. Yeah.
इंसेंटिव ड्रिवन पेरेंटिंग है ना, वो मुझे थोड़ी सी समझ में आती है, क्योंकि जब हम इंसेंटिव ड्रिवन पेरेंटिंग करते हैं तो हम खुद ही ये कर रहे हैं कि वी आर मेकिंग द रिलेशन ट्रांजैक्शनल. Yeah. And no transactional relationship will survive a long time. While parenting or children, this relationship is something which should be based more on love, on faith, on understanding, and permanence that no matter what happens, this is going to survive every problem. Right? I always say chances make our parents, choices make our friends. So it's a chance
Absolutely.
gave us these parents, but then we are stuck with our parents. Yeah. So it is better to make the most use of that. And if you want to do that, then it is important that you not make it transactional. So ये जो barter करने वाला तरीका है वो short term में काम करता है, long term में. तो हमें कोशिश करनी चाहिए कि थोड़ा सा बच के रहें. And always be ready to accept your mistakes in front of your parents because that makes the relationship very authentic, very real. आपके ऊपर से भी प्रेशर कम हो जाता है और बच्चे भी आपसे चीजें नहीं छुपाते because they feel that you are also normal human beings who can make mistakes. Yeah. So it's important that we don't lie, we don't make a aura like that we are your parents and we have never done any. That should not happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, ma'am, to summarize, what you just said, to our listeners, I'm just summarizing that, one most important is that while you are, elder to them in terms of age, but they are also an individual and they have their own feelings and they have the right to speak. And you can also be wrong and they can also tell you that you're wrong. You necessarily not be right. So I think that kind of acceptance and as you said, leaving ego aside, we need to understand that your child is also growing into evolving into a good individual and he will have to speak up eventually in the world if not with you. So he needs to be made that way confident to put up his things if he's right. The second thing which you said that we should not be doing any barter collaboration. Basically it shouldn't be any incentive driven, they should be self motivated.
Leave
Sorry?
that.
Yeah. And and the acceptance, do not compare your child, and because every child is unique and you may not know that directly or indirectly you are hitting their self-esteem, you are maybe you're impacting eventually when they will grow, they will be underconfident or always have some inferiority complexes because that has been told. So it becomes very important that you respect them, you reward them when they actually earn that in terms of like some good deed or something. But yeah, it shouldn't be incentive driven and you should celebrate. So if you ask me personally, ma'am, when I see my son working hard or for the exams, the day his exam finishes, I try to order some pizzas for him. I don't reward on results, I reward on his hard work. So I always tell him that for me marks don't matter. I know you have worked hard and let's celebrate it. Now it is if and I always tell him that see, life is good. If you get marks, life might get little better, but even if not, the life is still good. So I always tell them that to
marks, it will not depend upon his marks. It will depend more on the personality he has. It will depend more on the kind of person he becomes. Yeah. So we need to invest more time, more energy, faith, more love into the persons that our children are becoming.
Absolutely. And we should accept, I mean, we are also not perfect. God gave everybody some different skills. So, that we often say, right? I mean, you can't have a fish climbing a tree and you can't have maybe a bird swimming and you can't judge that way. So that way.
True.
So great learning, ma'am.
So you have to understand that whichever kind of children we have, they will never have the same. They will not be the same people with others. So you cannot compare or contrast with it.
We shouldn't either. Yes, ma'am. But as I'm saying, ma'am, all these things we know, but only when the actual execution comes, when it becomes a little difficult.
There's a lot of difference between what we should do and what we would do when we are in that situation.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think eventually, as you rightly said, that we as parents also have to grow with our children and understand their needs and their feelings and respect that. And we should not discard thinking, they are young. At times, I feel that, children teach me. Some days when I am low, they'll say just one line, and, and I think that, it's so meaningful. Pets
Yeah.
you up, and they would understand your feeling, in spite of being young, they would understand that, the mother is in a little distress, but a few lines they will say to comfort you, and they are so meaningful. And I'm just saying, I have young children. They don't. I mean, but yeah, I think they're matured enough. I think they also sense what you go through, and similarly,
You don't need maturity for that. As children, your observation is far sharp, because
maybe, yeah,
based on a lot of other ideas that we put into their mind. So as children, they are
absolutely,
love more. They can understand much more. They are more curious. Yeah.
absolutely, and they are evolving fast, and they're learning a lot of things which we are still think that they don't know, but I think they know a lot of other things. So, ma'am, last few minutes, and one of the last questions I would like to ask you: what is the importance of self-reliance to you, and how important it is for the woman in today's context? Self-reliance.
For me, self-reliance is as important as breathing. Okay, that is how I. That for every girl, for every woman, for every individual, self-reliance is as important as breathing. That's what I tell.
Absolutely, ma'am. And I think not only financial independence, which we often talk about. I think these days
Yes,
emotional independence is also very important.
financial independence, self-reliance means that emotionally also you have the ability
Yeah,
to depend on yourself.
absolutely,
Financially also you can depend on yourself, and for everything that you want to do, in the first person that you will depend upon is you. That is what it's.
absolutely,
So
absolutely,
self-dependence is one aspect of it, and a very important aspect of it. So it is important.
absolutely.
I tell all my students, all the people around me, that if you need food, you should know how to cook food. If you want to buy food, you should know how to, earn so that you can buy it, right? So
Understood. Yeah,
be able to be self-sufficient, self-sustainable as when,
absolutely.
right? So as you
Absolutely.
grow up, as you become an adult, it is important for everyone to become self-reliant, not only financially, but also emotionally,
Yes,
spiritually,
ma'am.
in also creatively. One should be self-sufficient.
I strongly believe in that, ma'am, because these days mental health and everything people are getting away. So it's become very important, that self love, that self reliance, and because you are going to be with you always, right? Nobody else. So
Most,
I think we need.
and that is why it is important for all of us to first depend on ourselves and find
Correct.
out our core piece inside us, because external motivation, external help will only work for a short time, right?
Absolutely.
Might not
Absolutely.
get external help at the right time when you need it, but then if you are able to support yourself, if you are able to find that core inside yourself to,
You would not need anybody.
yes, then you don't need.
Absolutely. So, ma'am, something about Ulta School. Would you like to say a few lines about your initiative,
Oh
Ulta
yes,
School?
sure. Ulta School is my latest initiative, where we are trying to prepare a thought and action school for oldsters, that is the people who are 50 plus, but they are very energetic, they are all active in their lives. How do we plan for our life 50 plus? After that time, for the next 50 years, how do we plan for it, and how do we stay engaged, involved, employable till the last
Absolutely.
sunset of our lives? That is what Ulta School does. So we are making a community of people like who are going to be soon, and then how do they plan for themselves for the next 50 years? That is what our plan is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sure you're making them feel younger and younger, and certain things they
I'm
want.
interested in making them feel younger. I want them to feel their age, but their
Okay.
is not a barrier for doing it.
Absolutely.
Even at
Yeah.
you can do all the things that you wish to do. It is only our social conditioning which makes us feel कि भाई 70 मतलब अब बहुत सारे काम है जो हमें नहीं करना चाहिए, या जरा सा कुछ हो तो हमें लगे कि अब हम बीमार हैं. But it is not like that. My father drives 8. My father-in-law does all his work on his own, even when he's crossing 80. So it completely depends on us, right? So how do
And
we
mindset.
use that
Hmm.
energy, and how do we set an example for ourselves and for others going forward? That is what Ulta School uh, everyone to achieve.
Absolutely, I have read couple of coverages there. It's so inspiring. It's very inspiring, and and I'll tell you why. I mean, young people like us. I mean, we think that if they can do, why can't we? The days we feel low, so it is so inspiring that there's nothing. You are unstoppable. There's nothing which you can't achieve. It's all about your mindset, and it's just
Right.
that you need to search the resources, and everything is available. The whole universe is there. It's just that you need to find your right this thing. So, ma'am, as you know, I can go on, and I so much like you that I can have this for entire evening. But I understand that we have to wrap up. So, but I'll not let you go like this. A quick rapid fire with you. You may answer in a word or a line. Okay. So a very rapid one. Yeah. So
All
be
right.
ready, ma'am. Huh? Get set, go. Okay. Okay. So your inspiration and why?
My inspiration is when it comes to writing, Ayn Rand and author is my inspiration, and otherwise all my life experiences are my inspiration. Yeah.
What would you say is your interesting writing quirk?
My writing quirk would be I write longhand. I don't type anything. Still write.
Oh, lovely. Okay. What angers you and what gives you hope?
What angers me? Oh, there are a lot of things that anger me. I control myself, but then there are a lot of things that anger me. Yeah. And hope. Oh, I'm a very hopeful person. I'm hopelessly hopeful. Right. So I'm a very hopeful person. But yes, anger anything. Especially anything if it goes wrong with women or with nature, that angers me. Right. These are
Absolutely.
my most
Triggers.
proud, living beings on earth, I would say. So anything going wrong with a woman, anything going wrong with nature, it angers me.
Triggers you. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, two things you would like to change about yourself or you wish people know about you? Any two things?
Two things I want to change about myself. Okay. The first thing that I would want to change is that I I forget to eat and gets upset with me because of that. So I want to have some better schedules where I eat properly because I forget it all the time, and so everyone around me is troubled because of that, and it puts me into trouble too. So I want to change that bit of mine. And second thing that I would want to change is I'm fighting it hard that I don't be too detail oriented, but I am very detail oriented. So that kind of makes lives of others very difficult sometimes.
No, that's a basic foundation. No, yeah, that's a in your DNA
Uh,
maybe to be.
I go deep into things and then it takes a lot of time to finish things. So it becomes a
I
little.
understand. Okay, if you could tell your younger writing self anything, what it would be?
Oh, I would tell my younger self to enjoy more, and also I would tell my younger self to say things more often in the sense that if you're not liking something, then say it out loud. You know, I would
Absolutely. What do you feel? Yeah.
a lot of patience all the time. Yeah, I keep a lot of patience, which others feel it is a good thing, but I personally would have told my younger self, let it go.
Absolutely. We all feel like that, anyways, when we look back. But yeah. So, do you Google yourself? If yes, why?
I don't Google myself much. I would check, my social media. I'm more active on LinkedIn most of the time. So I would only check if I have posted something. Then I will check for things. But otherwise, I'm not in a habit of Googling myself. I
People
don't.
Google. People Google about yourself. Don't worry.
Or maybe they about me more because of my dear husband. But
Yes.
otherwise,
Yes.
much to Google.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, sir is everywhere, and
Yeah,
he is more inspiring. And
yeah.
even on our live chats, multiple people are sending him good wishes. So please, huh?
I'm surprised. Why would they ask this if I'm there? That where is he? Would they ask the same question to him ever? So why is this
Yeah,
question? But I don't understand.
I know, I know. But do convey our love and regards to sir
Sure,
from all of us. We
I'll.
all are big fan, and again, he is so inspiring, and
Oh
I've been following him. So I think you both make a great pair and a power couple, what we say these days. So last two, three, rapid fire questions. What is the first book that made you cry?
The first book that made me cry was a book I read when I grew up. It was a book called The Help, which really made me cry. And then I read it with my daughter again, and it is one of our favorite books to date. Yeah, The Help.
The Help. Okay, ma'am, by author?
Uh,
It is the
Author, I'm trying to remember. It is I can't remember the author.
okay, but the book name is The Help.
The Help. Yeah. I'm
Lovely.
of the author right now. Yeah.
I'll check it out. So describe yourself in 3 words.
3 words: confident, authentic, and energetic.
Absolutely, ma'am. We too resonate with that. And before we conclude, a final message to our readers, listeners.
Okay. My final message would always be, live your life to the fullest, whatever comes your way, and keep smiling, whatever. That is all. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm sure, uh, all of us who are listening, looking at you are already smiling. So that is your power, ma'am. And, so please be like this always. And you're that light which
And
have guided me personally. And I can't thank you enough for
my,
being there and being today. So thank you. It was great interacting with you, ma'am. And thank you for providing us with your valuable insight and sharing your inspiring journey with us. I'm
all
sure
the very
lots of
best.
us are. Yes, ma'am. And I'm sure all of us are already motivated to pick up a paper and pen and start writing something. So thank you once again for your valuable time, and thank you to all the wonderful listeners. Thank you, ma'am. Have a great evening. Thank
Thank
you. Thanks, everyone.
you. Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Bye.
Thank you. You too. Thank you, ma'am.